Hey guys, what's up? So I'm bringing you guys a bit of a special video here. Recently, my fellow moderators and I made a sample team thread for teams in the SSOU post DLC metagame. So on top of the teams that I already posted in the video that I went with team building, actually one of those teams is included with this. There's also some other teams that I figured you guys could use yourselves, maybe try out, because I know there's a lot of confusion about what's good and what's not, what may be worth trying in team building and what maybe not so much, and just how to build proper defensive structures, proper offensive structures. What type of archetypes are good? Is hyper offense good, or is Stahl good, or something in between, etc. All these questions are floating in our heads, and not too many people are sure. So we put all of our collective heads together, and we came up with hopefully a decent representation of what could be used in the metagame. It's definitely still rough, but we're getting there for sure. So as you can see, there's a little banner here for SSOU sample teams hosted by me. With the new metagame giving up so many new Pokemon and strategies for us to explore, we decided to share some sample teams for everyone to try out in the early stages of the metagame. To get importable, just click on the mini sprites. So I'm going to go through all of these teams with you guys. Of course, one by one. I have the Pokebase open, but first I just want to state the team archetype. So maybe if you guys don't care about the first team because you already saw me use it live, and the second team because you already see me use Hyper Offense, you could go ahead and skip a couple minutes, or you could just watch the whole time and give me a couple extra pennies. That'd be cool too, But either way, so yeah, it's Choice Band Urshifu Balance. It's a team I used in the live. It just has a couple edits with EV spreads. In particular, I believe we went minus speed on the Slowbro, which allows us to have an even slower teleport, despite already having 0 speed IVs, yeah. Then we have Belly Drum Azumarill Hyper Offense, built by my friend Jordy, a moderator and a successful player as well. Particularly, he's a captain of Team Europe in this World Cup, and he was a teammate on my SPL team. Yeah, really up-and-coming dude, and I love him as a moderator. Tala, who is a long-time Greek player, and he's also a moderator. Really nice friend of mine. I love this dude as well. He built a Trick Scarf Magirna, balanced it as Trick Scarf Magirna pretty much, and then some other cool sets, and just a nice balanced format, and it's able to get in Choice Banded Urshifu a lot and just poke holes in opposing teams. Then, of course, we have a semi-stall team built by my boy Ruff, a new moderator who I can't say enough about. Really one of the best presences in the community right now, and one of the people I talk to the most. I love working with him, and he tried building some bulkier teams, and this was the best one he could come up with. It also has Rear Nicholas' win condition, which is really underrated in the metagame. And then we have Barrascuda Rain, which I built. It's just a variant of the team I made on the video before, I believe. I think it's got some edits, yeah. This one actually has Drizzle on the Pelipper, which is great. And last but not least, there's a Nasty Plot Alakazam balance that TPP built the core for with the Dragapult plus Alakazam and mentioned that he wanted Clefable, and then I helped finish the team out. So, yeah, we built it together. All right, I'm going to pause now, and I'm going to go through team by team with the imports. Okay, guys, we're back. So, yeah, let's go through these teams one by one and just get through all these sample teams, say what they do, say why it might be appealing for you to use them, and also maybe explain just some of the rationale behind why they were built. So this is a Choice Band Urshifu Balance team. A lot of you guys might already be familiar with this team because I used it in live. I think that Joey used something similar as well, and on top of that, it's been pretty common on the ladder ever since I built it. So yeah, it was also my team building focus video, so definitely something you're familiar with. But I made it Sucker Punch on Urshifu. I think I initially had U-turn, and I made it minus speed on Slowbro to get a slower teleport. But yeah, it's a pretty cool balance. I'm not going to go super in depth on this one. The basic idea is to get Choice Band Urshifu in and to let it get kills with close combat and Wicked Blow, because not many things are going to keep it in check consistently in the metagame right now. And it also has support of things like Thunder Wave on Slowbro on top of Teleport. So not only does it get it in with Teleport, but it also helps slow things down and switch into it, like Hydreigon and Dragapult and Alakazam. On top of that, we also have Stealth Rock, Marowak, Alola, which is a great answer to... oh, it actually should be Lightning Rod. Oops. A great answer to things like Magirna. Actually, no, it should be Rockhead. Never mind. I forgot we had Philebo. So yeah, I initially ran a variant of this with Fire Punch and Lightning Rod, and that helped with Electric Move Magirna. However, with Clefable, that has Wish Port into this, you're going to be able to check it anyway, especially with Thunder Wave on Slowbro, so yeah, that's fine. Anyway, it's hit really hard. It has this move called Poltergeist, which is a new move that some of you guys might not be familiar with. It does 110 damage on the physical ghost side. It's a move stronger than Shadow Punch, and it's not 2 turns like Phantom Force. It's basically the wet dream of all physical ghost types all time, and the distribution isn't super universal, but is given to Marowak and things like Gourgeist in lower tiers, which is pretty cool. So there's definitely some plus sides there. Of course, it only works if the item is equipped by the opponent, so try not to knock things off. On this team in particular, you don't really have a knockoff user, so that's actually kind of planned. But you also have Flare Blitz and Earthquake, and I just want to show, even if with only 176 in attack and adamant, because you want the speed to outrun 0 speed Clef and 0 speed Tyranitar, and the bulk helps you check things like Living and Alakazam Life Orb Psychic from full, and a +1 Psychic from Volcarona from 75%, meaning after Stealth Rock, because you're weak to Stealth Rock. So, despite that, you're hitting 264 times 2 attacks. You're well over 500 attack, given the thick club, which is just ridiculous. And you've got strong stabs in both the Ghost and Fire typing. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk today. Sorry about that. And on top of it, you have Earthquake to clock things like Tyranitar and Toxapex as well. You're even able to hit Magearna on some mid grounds. If like you think they might go to like something like their Toxapex, if they have like a core like that, Earthquake hits both of them. There's a lot of mid ground potential there. But anyway, yeah, it's just a force to be reckoned with. On top of that, if you look through the metagame, there are some other things it does really well against, such as Clefable, Amoonguss, Klefki, although I don't really see Klefki. It's an Ice Beam resist, so it can 1v1. I can't really even 1v1 it, because it doesn't kill Kyurem in one shot, and Ice Beam has a chance to 2-KO it. But in a pinch, you could maybe check that. It's also really good against Magnezone, 1v1ing that. I think that's about it. It's really meant to get in offensively and just abuse the situation at hand. Even if Zero War knocks it off, it's able to live that knockoff more often than not and just destroy it in return. I mean, look at the bulk. It has 110 base defense, which is pretty impressive. But the 60 HP and 80 special defense aren't doing him any favors. So, honestly, it's sort of tanking the physical side, and it's just pretty frail on the special side. But with enough pivoting prospects from Teleport, Slowbro, and Clefable, which basically this is meant to get Urshifu and Marowak in as much as possible, it's great. And it kind of means you could go a bit more passive with the remainder of the team to focus on positioning, removing entry hazards, and getting things in safely. Which is why having things like this Corviknight, especially defensive to check Nasty Plot Alakazam and switch into Shadow Balls and Skulls and whatnot, is great. You still have Brave Birds, which helps against things like Hawlucha, although honestly with Slowbro you're fine against that anyway. With Urshifu and Hydreigon you're fine against things like, say, I don't know, Bisharp. And against Mammo's fine, you've got Slowbro. So yeah, I don't really think you need physical defensive Corviknight for anything on this team, which is great, as it enables Scarf Hydreigon, which is really cool here. As while Scarf Hydreigon sucks in general in my eyes, in like new metagames like this, a lot of people are using like really offensive teams, and it's able to pick apart offensive teams and honestly just slaughter hyper offensive teams lacking a Azumarill. Or even if you take advantage of Azumarill, then yeah, you can do that too. Admittedly, this team is a tad vulnerable to Belgium Azumarill, but I believe that Urshifu at full health lives a +6 Aqua Jet, which is helpful as it does have 100 physical bulk and Poison Jab. But also, if you're weakened, you can potentially Sucker Punch it and do damage with Dark Pulse from my Dragon while they're both resisted. If you're able to force, say, a Moonblast or a Brave Bird after the Belladrum, then those two will easily be able to take it out afterwards. So, yeah, that's great. And last but not least, we also have a Clefable to round things out. Teleport is just really important in this team with Marowak and Urshifu. It kind of mandates some sort of pivoting like this. On top of that, Wish is super great for Hydreigon. And having a Fire type on this team is just really important, as opposing Hydreigon and Dragapult are super annoying otherwise. And Status Absorption is cool too. While you have Heavy Duty Burst on Slowbro, you're kind of vulnerable to Toxic Spikes with your two big hitters. And Corviknight can't always 1-for-1 pack, so having another thing that's able to really be immune to them, and not only that, but also soak up poison so it can't get paralyzed, is pretty cool. So yeah, this is a pretty well-designed team in my eyes. It's one of my favorite balances in the metagame. It's a far cry from perfect. There are no perfect teams right now, but probably the favorite team I've built thus far, and I definitely would recommend checking it out. However, there's more. We still have 5 other teams. Let's go through all of them. The first team that we're going to be discussing is the Hyper Offensive team by Jordy, my friend Jordy. I'm a moderator, and I've kind of debriefed him already. But yeah, no, he's a great player, and he came up with this team, which is really cool. It has a lot of synergy on the offensive end. The idea is you lead with the Stealth Rock, Spikes, Taunt, Flare Blitz, Mew. Flare Blitz is great against things like Excadrill and more importantly Corviknight. Able to kind of not be defenseless against them. And then you have just 5 sheer win conditions. It's honestly a very offensive, balls to the walls kind of play style. What I really like about this team is that it makes use of Electro Ball, Shift Gear, Magearna. For those of you who don't know, Electro Ball does more damage if you're quicker than the opponent. So after a Shift Gear, you're going to be doing, say, 85-90% to Toxics without even getting a Calm Mind. You're going to be killing a Slowbro. Yeah, it's just amazing. All these bulky waters are like, oh yeah, I could get a Scald Burn, I could like live a Flare Cannon and heal up. Nope, you guys are going to hell. That's just how it is. And it also has Ice Beam and Focus Blast. Bolt Beam coverage is always great, and Focus Blast lets you hit Steel types like the ever so common Ferrothorn and Excadrill. In addition to that, it also potentially lets you nab a kill on Bisharp if it does live an Electro Ball from the health it's at. It really depends on that. I guess it's also nice to do the most damage to opposing, Snorlax, and get Hydreigon in one hit. But generally speaking, Ice Beam and Bolt Beam do cover most non-steel types. So yeah, that's great. We also have Bisharp, Azumarill, Dragapult, and Hawlucha. While Bisharp, Dragapult, and Hawlucha were bordering staple status on hyper offensive teams previously, it's still great. And just to provide some reasoning, Bisharp's able to abuse Defog, getting the +2 from Defiant, and potentially sweeping teams from there. In addition, it also takes advantage of weakened Corviknights, which Hawlucha and Dragapult both do, or vice versa. It trades with Corviknight, and then those Pokemon feast on those teams, which honestly, the synergy there is just completely underrated. And I think that makes hyper offensive teams as good as they are, especially because there's also a +2 knockoff is going to do a lot to Hippowdon, 65 to 75%. And that's going to put it in range for Hawlucha and Dragapult after their boost as well. So teams that could potentially be really dire matchups for us all of a sudden can be taken advantage of by one win condition, weakening things for another win condition to ultimately win the game, which is kind of the sequential play that these hyper-offensive teams, like Jordy's team, really look for. Yeah, Dragon Dance, Dragapult is great, Steel Wing for Clefable, and some other Fairy types. And Fire Blast, of course, is there for Steel types like Ferrothorn, Magearna, Skarmory, Corviknight, and Bisharp, being able to kill Bisharp, Ferrothorn, and physically defensive Skarmory after Stealth Rock, I believe. However, it's just shy of a 2-KO on a Stealth Magearna, although you can't 2-KO offensive Magearna, and it's able to kill Bisharp in one hit as well. Dragon Darts is really strong with the plus attack nature and Life Orb. Keep in mind that Dragapult's base attack stat is sky high at 120, and rounding out the team is Hawlucha, running a Power Herb, Sky Attack variant with Speed for Extra Drill, which is really smart, tricking her out, outrun +2 in the sand, and just maxing out attack otherwise with throwing the remainder in bulk. It's a really smart set by Jordy to round out this team and give you a great anti-offensive win condition. So this will do really well against opposing hyper-offensive teams as well. Due to this, and I forgot the biggest member of the team in my eyes, Belly Drum Azumarill, a Pokemon that I personally showcased in a live yesterday that I'd advise checking out. But overall, it's just a really strong presence in the metagame, and I implore you guys to try it out. It's able to overwhelm counters on the physical, on the defensive side, like Slowbro, Toxapex, Skarmory, Corviknight, Tangrowth, Amoonguss. Did I say Ferrothorn already? Yeah, all those, but with +6 knockoff or play rough. And it's able to just kind of invalidate offensive counterplay with +6 Aqua Jet. Dragapult and Hydreigon or Urshifu's just need to take a couple rounds of Stealth Rock, and all of a sudden they're in range. So yeah, that's very doable, especially with me also having spikes and you having a slew of, say, priority moves and other win conditions. So yeah, they just synergize super well together. And you want max attack because 190 leaves you out running Conkeldurr, which is really important. But on top of that, there are going to be a lot of other Azumarill right now, and it seems like Combine Clef in that range. And Combine Clef that runs in that range also tends to run plus defense, so you're not going to be able to kill it with one Aqua Jet. So running max speed is just best. Although honestly, I'd run 200. I'd hit 200 on your Combine Clef at this point, given how common this is. Assuming you still have a +6 Aqua Jet, which I'd assume so. But yeah, this is Jordy's hyper offensive team. We're just going to pause for 1 minute. There should be some background noise bothering you guys right now, and I want to stop that. Alright guys, we're back. My bad about that. But now let's get into the third team. This was a balanced team brought to you by Tala, another moderator of mine, a Greek player. He's actually on their World Cup roster. He's a really strong player, and more importantly, he's known for building. He actually built a lot of cool teams in Generation 7 OU, but this is a Generation 8 OU team, given with the theme of the video, of course. I was here. Okay, so I want to first highlight this set on Magearna. It gets tricked this generation, which is really cool. So let's say you're expecting them to go to their bulkier Pokemon, say their own especially defensive Magearna or Chansey or, even a Toxapex or, let's go down the list. Jirachi, Aegislash, can check this. Yeah, not Dunsparce, no. Ferrothorn, Klefki, I guess. Yeah, Mew, Marowak even. You're able to cripple all of those Pokemon with Trick. Yeah, you do lose out if you trick into Amoonguss or Toxapex because you get Black Sludge. But honestly, that kind of is still worth it because they're locked in this whole game. And in those matchups, you're not doing much offensively with Magearna no matter what the set. Unless you are a Shift Gear Bolt Beam set like the team before. But more importantly, that opens the game up for Choice Band Urshifu so much. All those Pokemon generating free moves means Urshifu is getting kill after kill after kill after kill. And on this team, it's actually running Adamant, which is interesting. Personally, I prefer Jolly, but it seems that Tali here preferred Adamant. And that extra power is going to mean that you're always 2-killing Hippowdon, even if it's leftovers. Same with Skarmory and Tangrowth, which is honestly amazing. Admittedly, you do lose out on other Urshifu, but this team has a really cool core that has this thing called kind of just like pivot checking, which is something that a lot of people are using for Urshifu. you have a physically defensive Amoonguss, physically defensive invested Mandibuzz, and a leftovers physically defensive Komo-O with the Scarf Magearna and Dragapult to Revenge Kill it. So, also a really cool Magearna set, Dragapult set, we're going to get into that in a minute. The fact of the matter is that if you go for a Wicked Blow into the Amoonguss, that's still going to do like 60-65%, don't get me wrong. But, unfortunately, for it, you're going to be encountering some issues because you're just going to get regened out. It's only going to take 20-25% net damage, and then all of a sudden from there, sorry, I can't talk, holy crap. All of a sudden from there, you, what was I saying? I lost my train of, sorry, one sec, guys. Oh, okay, all of a sudden from there, you can just regen out, you can go to Mandibuzz or Komo-O and take resisted damage. It runs Seed Bomb, which is interesting. It's really cool against Calm Mind users, like, they're boosting your special defense with Clear Up Smog, so yeah, it was an old tech that was used for Suicune last generation. I think it's for a couple things this generation. Trying to go down the list and see. Oh, Primarina is the big one, yeah. This is an amazing check to Primarina. Giga Drain might not break the substitute if it's +1, and nowadays, they're more likely to run Psychic with Amoonguss being in the tier, so being able to live 2 non-boosted Psychics is huge, and you've got Clear Smog, and you can just Seed Bomb through it. That's an amazing counter. It's also good against Calm Mind Keldeo, which Keldeo in general is more common now a lot because you're seeing things like Flip Turn. And I guess the rare Calm Mind Zero Aura, which is going to be used a little bit more just in general because you're seeing more physically defensive Tangrowth, although honestly Zero Aura is taking a big hit in general. Another thing you do more damage to is Alakazam in the switch in. You're able to get probably a clean 3-KO if not 2-KO with this, which is great. And you're still doing damage to things like Cloyster that you super effectively as well. But yeah, so that's really cool, and Toxic Blast is great to nab a couple things as well. Personally, I would consider running Stun Spore and Giga Drain as well. Even Stomping Tantrum for Magearna. But this team does have other checks to all those Pokemon. I mean, and it could also Spore them. So I think there's a lot of different leeway, different things you could do. There's a lot of leeway with Amoonguss sets, and I think this one's completely fair as well. So yeah, definitely an interesting choice here by Tala. But also he has a Foul Play Mandibuzz with some EVs to help with things like Excadrill and Choice Band or Surge Dance Aegislash with Foul Play to help with both of them as well, which is really cool. And U-Turn, Defog, Roost, yeah. And I think this is just speed for, Choice Band Tar speed, which also outruns Aegislash, which is smart. Because Choice Band Tar is the best Tar right now. Yeah, physical defensive combo. Personally, I would consider running speed for, you've got Urshifu for Bishop. Never mind, yeah. This is a smart spread. You also get Choice Band Tar, and you outrun Modest, Aegislash / Adamant Aegislash, and Modest Primarina as well. Land a Toxic on him if you need. And Toxic huge in this team for Hippowdon as well, because that lets Urshifu break through even easier. But yeah, and the last Pokemon I want to talk about is Dragapult, which is still a great Pokemon metagame, but now it runs a physical set with Dragon Fang. Is that in the game? I believe so, right? Yeah, I think that was just added to the game, right? Yeah, okay. This server's not updated, by the way. That's why. I'm on Smog Tours, for those of you who don't know, which, by the way, is where the Smogon Charity Bowl will be held. For those of you who don't know what that is, I made a video on it earlier, last week, but tomorrow, well, I guess today, by the time I'm uploading it at noon Eastern, there's going to be a huge live tournament in the SSU metagame. I'd strongly recommend checking that out. A lot of cool stuff's going to be going down, so yeah, be sure to check that out. Anyway, more on that in the video, and then I'm not going to ramble on about that. But yeah, Dragon Darts is really cool for things like Chansey, and I guess shoot a Amoonguss pretty hard. And versus fairy types like Clefable, you 2-KO with Steel Wing. So yeah, I think there's a ton of offensive potential on physical variants right now, with Hippowdon being less common, and also you having a couple lures to it with Toxic and Adamant Urshifu. I think the synergy in this team is really understated, and while it might look unconventional with this set, and even the Amoonguss set, I actually think it synergizes really nicely, and I personally quite like this team. So yeah, thank you to Tala for sharing this. And then also we have 3 more teams, one from Ruffed, one from myself, and one from myself in TVP. So let's get to the Stahl team first. It's probably not the most appealing option to you guys out there, because I know a lot of you prefer the offensive teams. However, I personally think it's always nice to just have an idea of what these teams are going to be. So here we go. It has a defensive core of Chansey, Toxapex, and Skarmory. I'm not going to go too in-depth on what they do. It should be fairly obvious. Physical walls, special wall, utility with rocks, spikes, and toxic spikes, knockoff, counter for things like Urshifu. Although you have the best Urshifu counter in the game here in Weezing Galar, which is really good against it. The last move on it can be Aromatherapy or Sludge Bomb. The import actually had Aromatherapy. I prefer Sludge Bomb, however. But yeah, it also gives you a second, actually a primary defogger. Yeah, you don't really need defog a ton in this team because You could ditto their hazard removal, and on top of that, you have immunity here, immunity to spikes here. Yeah, and just a lot of recovery all over, but it's completely fair, especially with spikes starting to sort of be used, but not a ton. You could also use a set with Defog over Whirlwind, I guess, on Skarmory, but I prefer this personally. Anyway, yeah, and on top of that, you have Ditto, Scarfer, just a nice revenge killer. It's a good addition to this team, of course, just a good install in general. And last but not least, you have Runic, which kind of makes it semi-stall. It's a nice win condition, Life Orb. It just shreds cores with like Toxic Specs plus Grass type plus like Defogger like Mandibuzz or Corviknight or Skarmory. So yeah, definitely would recommend that. A lot of cool things in this team, even if it's a bulkier team. Probably pretty effective in my eyes. But we're not going to go and belabor that point too much. I don't want to spend this whole video discussing how much I love Stahl because, spoiler alert, I like it quite a bit over a couple of generations. This one probably included, but not quite there yet. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the Barraskewda Rain team. I also roughly recorded a video on this one in my team building video, but it was only part of it. So let's get into more details here. We got a physically defensive Pelipper, more specially oriented Choppleberry Ferrothorn. That's meant to get rocks up and spread Thunderwave. And then we have the big, bad breaking foursome here with a Life Orb Modest Kingdra. Personally, you can run Flip Turn over probably Surf or Hydro Hump, one of the two, to help pivot instants like Chansey and Ferrothorn. However, you would Trick Specs Magearna to kind of hit those lures, so it kind of seems a little redundant in my eyes. So I preferred both Water Stabs, so one for power, one for not risking missing against more offensive teams. In addition, you also have Adamant Choice Band Barraskewda, which is amazing against anything that's not named Toxic Specs. Even then, you could Psychic Fang it, but you're still pretty vulnerable to that. In general, Toxic Specs with Toxic Spikes is a big problem in this team and any other Rain team, but at least you could potentially trick it or do a lot of damage with Seismitoad and Magearna's Volt Switch. So yeah, there are ways out. And rounding out the team, you have just Seismitoad left. Yeah, and you have Seismitoad. It just runs modest, you don't need the speed, Weather Ball, Hydro Pump, Earth Power, Focus Blast, yeah, hits everything. You could actually 2-Cure Chansey in Rain with Dalthrox with a Water move if you trick it. So that's really cool. So yeah, that's great. And of course, just to go through the Magearna spread, you actually always one-shot opposing physically defensive Ferrothorn with Focus Blast and Specs equipped with this spread as well. So that's also great. And yeah, so that's the Barraskewda Rain team. And we're going to wrap this video up by talking about the Nasty Little Alakazam balance that TPP and I just built earlier today. He gave me the core with Will-O-Wisp, Dragapult, plus knockoff Alakazam, basically saying, hey, if you knock off Chansey or Magearna with Alakazam, then all of a sudden things like Dragapult and other special attackers can do really, really well. And I agree with that sentiment. Ultimately, we had to make a Thunderwave for opposing Magearna and a couple other things like Urshifu as well. Slowing them down is really great for this team, as you can see here. But yeah, we also have Wish plus Teleport, Clefable, and Corviknight. Kind of nice balance core on this team. Corviknight has EV's level +2 Life Orb Focus Blast from Alakazam always, or 2 from full. Standard Special Defensive Clef. As for Como, we're making it Rocky Helmet to help with things like Urshifu's Wicked Blow rather, and Speed to help check Bishop, just in case Hydreigon is not enough. And also, it's nice because we can outrun Primarina and get a Toxicon up before it subs on us, because Subcommand Primarina actually is a problem for this team, admittedly. And we rounded out with a Nasty Hydreigon, and kind of the crux of this team is to get a knockoff on Chansey and Magearna. And after that, Hydreigon can just destroy both of them. At +2 with Life Orb, you're actually doing 80% with Hydreigon's Draco Meteor against a knocked off Chansey, which is just amazing. You can easily put it in that range, so I would definitely recommend trying that out. Unfortunately, you have to run plus speed here for Urshifu and a whole slew of things like Excadrill. However, you are going to be able to get chip on things like Clefable and Chansey with the help of the Exam set, so you don't really need those kills from like full health per se or like higher ranges. So yeah, that's great. And overall, this is a really cool team. Probably one of my favorites of this bunch. But yeah, let me know what you think of these teams. And if you want to use these teams, we're going to leave them all in the description. But I figured I'd go through some more teams because team building in this metagame seems to be something you guys are personally really interested in. And I want to deliver it to what you guys want. So yeah, let me know what you think of this type of video. Let me know what you think of team building in metagame and in particular these teams. Be sure to leave a comment with any of those things or just anything else. Just say, hey, Finch, I like cheese. I just had a cheeseburger for dinner today, or whatever you want to say. Comments really helpful. I love the sense of community we're building here, fostering here. And in addition to this, be sure to like and also subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying my stuff. All right, guys, this is Finch. Have a great night. Peace.